What is up, YouTube? Aaron here, and in today's video, we are going to be diving into a topic that not only has taken up a little bit of the conversation in my live streams that I've been doing as of lately, but also has been making its way into my direct messages, both on Twitter and Instagram, and even some emails. And that is some people wanting me to go into the canals and the waterways throughout the city of Northport to show people that that they're there and that they potentially could be used. These are all theories. We're just talking theories at this point. Some people are definitely in the camp that Brian Laundrie could have and possibly used these waterways to get to the reserve or to even escape the city of Northport entirely. And so I'm going to go into all of that today. I by no means am saying that I believe that this happened or that this was a strong possibility. I'm just simply mulling over some maps like I do and showing you guys to hopefully give you guys a better idea of the bigger picture. So before we get into that, we're going to go over two quick articles. So stick around to the end. I just wanted to quickly mention this is some news from today. The Laundrie Family Attorney provides a projected timeline for the release of the cause of death. He states in the article, I'll link it down below, he states that it could be 2, maybe up to 3 weeks before they have any information from the anthropologist, which we all know that is who is examining what remains that they do have. And I'm not quite sure if he's talking about 2 to 3 weeks from, I don't know what date, because from the October 20th date that they found Brian, I think 3 weeks would put us at about Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, the 10th. So we could have some more answers here soon, and I truly do think we're going to have something coming out relatively soon. Another thing is the Brian Laundrie, or this article from Independent, talking about Brian Laundrie's cell phone being probed by the FBI. And they're basically saying that they're going to be able to see his digital footprint and be aware of his movements and communications in the days leading up to his death, and hopefully further back, possibly when he was in Wyoming and the trip back, we can maybe get a better idea of where he actually stopped. I know that there is little evidence overall in this case still, so maybe if we know his exact route, they can track down maybe Gabby's phone or some other evidence that may have been ditched along the way. There's a possibility of that. So I think there'll be some new information coming out. I'm going to link both of these articles down below for you guys to check out, but let's go ahead and get into the meat and the bones of this episode today, and that is centered around kayaking. So this is some WFLA footage from September 20th. This is when the FBI swarmed the Laundrie house shortly after the discovery of Gabby's remains in the Tetons. And I'm going to go ahead and pause the video right here. And I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to actually move this screen down a little bit to show you right up here is what appears to be either a white or a weathered yellow kayak or canoe. I'm not sure. It looks like it's upside down. I don't know if it's a two-person or just a single seat canoe, but this is in the Laundrie's backyard. It's very clear. There's a good shot of it right there. It's very clear that they owned at the very least one canoe or kayak. And I will say, a lot of people that own kind of these recreational kayaks, a lot of times you have two. I'm not saying that you only have one, but a lot of times you usually have a second one so you can go enjoy kayaking with someone else. Unless someone in their family was just specifically into that sport and into that activity, that could be. Also, like I said, it could be a two-person kayak, so you never know. But it is interesting that there is only one there. It would be interesting to know if they had a second one at one point. Once again, I'm not trying to back up any sort of claim or theory here. I'm just showing what I see here in this footage, and that is a kayak in the backyard on the 20th. And then it got me thinking, well, let's go to the day that old Dog, the bounty hunter, was at the Laundrie's house, and let's analyze some of this footage. And as you can see here, this would have been that part of the house right to the back left of the garage from this footage. If we scrub back just a little bit, that would have been that area just above here where Dog the Bounty Hunter kind of stood at the edge of their driveway or the corner of their driveway. And I thought maybe if you could see through the fence in some way in some of this footage, you could see the stacked kayak. But unfortunately, as you can see here, there's obviously a crack in the fence, but you can't see. And then they end up zooming in. And that's really the only footage I could see from there. And WFLA, I don't think really flew over the Laundrie's house too much after this particular date of the 27th or of the 20th when they did the raid, the FBI warrant for the hard drive and some of the other things that they got. And so I'm going to go dive in to even further back to see if initial, coverage of the story had them flying over the Laundries prior to the 20th. I don't think that there is, but I'm going to definitely look at it. And then this is kind of where we're at with this part of the story. So sorry also about the washing machine going in the background. You could probably hear it. This is the street in which the Laundries live. This is their house right here. As we can see, this is that pool house that the helicopter was circling around. That kayak would have been right about here. And in that footage of Dog the Bounty Hunter, he would have been right about here. So let me see here. Oh, wait, you know what? That's not the Laundrie's house. This is the Laundrie's house right here, right? Yeah, they must have put a fence in. Apologies. It's this house here. So let me go down. This is from September. No, that's not it. Okay, we're one away. Hold on. This is from also April of 2011, this particular street view, and you can see the house is in a little worse shape. So I don't know who was living here at the time. Okay, so now let's zoom out. My apologies. It's a very similar backyard here with the fenced-in covered pool in the backyard. So this would be the Laundrie's house here. But either way, it is right here. And if we zoom out, I'm going to show you guys those waterways and canals that I was talking about. So over here you can see is one of the big canals that runs throughout the town. And there it looks like areas that either a bunch of gunk gets pooled up and filtered through as it's moving down towards the ocean where a lot of this spills out into, and we'll show that in a second as well. But there are a ton. Like if we zoom out, look at where my mouse is moving. These are all bits of waterways throughout here that are fairly wide. And depending on the time of year, there's probably more or less water obviously flowing through these with the rainy season. But I would imagine that some of these have water in them almost all the time. We took a trip to Northport recently, and I could definitely see a lot of these on the sides of the road as we went over some of these like bridges throughout the town, and they were full of water right now. So, they vary, I'm sure. But anyway, so as you can see, they're all around the Laundrie neighborhood. The closest access would be this one right here by just a little bit. And then there's this one over here as well. So if we go into this next viewpoint, I have now mapped out a route that Brian could have taken to the reserve if he wanted to evade law enforcement and media to get to the reserve. And if I go to this viewpoint here, you can see a little bit better the route that I have mapped out. So let me go back to satellite view to show you guys. If he were to sneak out, and I had it pinned at this house before, my apologies, it's this house here. But either way, if he snuck over through here, there is no property right behind this house that is next to his parents. He technically probably could have gone through here and gone out the back and then gone the rest of the way. This same thing checks out if he were to even go out the front down this street that the house faces as well. So if I go back to this view, we can see we follow this route. And right here is actually where it would split off into the canal. So he would be on these major roads, just neighborhood roads, not major roads. I have him coming through here, through some backyards along these trees to then hop in right here. And then he would have to take I'm actually going to do satellite until we get there, and then I'll zoom out to show the whole route. But he would basically be able to take this route all the way through. And there are certain areas where it would clearly go underneath these little bridges, as you can see here. So it's hard to tell from the straight down, top down looking shot. And then he could turn, he could go north. Some of these areas look like a pretty thick, pretty wide bodies of water. These look extremely narrow, but there is definitely a canal here, and it actually goes underneath the highway. So anyways, you could essentially follow that canal that is right next to his parents' house all the way up to this canal that runs east and west that goes straight over to none other than Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park. And then you could take that same big slough canal all the way up, and then this is right the area right here where they ended up finding Brian. So if he did do that, you can see right here on the screen, if I move it up a little bit, the distance on that is showing 7 miles. I'll highlight it right down here, and it also says at the end of the measurement. And if I go back to this view and zoom out, this is what that looks like on the map if he were to access the canals. And you could technically get all the way within just a few hundred yards of where his body ended up being found, or reportedly found. So it's interesting, but it got me thinking even more, because some people, they raise the question of, well, why would he go up there if, there are some people in the camp still that don't believe Brian has been found. And so what if, and we're just going down these theories here, what if he wanted to escape Northport entirely by the waterways? So I went ahead and did that as well. So from the same area next to where his parents' house is right here, I did the same thing where you could go down Ulster Road here, or Ulster Avenue, hang a left and come through these trees, access the same canal, but instead of going north, head south. And I'm just going to do this quickly by zooming out. You got to trust me here that I am following the canal. It spits out into some bigger areas that you can see. But if I zoom out, all of this is connected. And like I said, at the very end, I'll go to this view so you can see the black line a bit more. But you could technically take this all the way to where the big slough meets the Myakka River. So the big slough is no more, and now we have a massive spillway, or I don't know what it'd be called, but into the Myakka River that then turns into this big harbor or bay. I don't know what this would be. Yeah, a harbor of some sort, Gasparilla Harbor. And then if we zoom out even more, guys, that leads to the ocean. I mean, you could follow along this entire bit of land here and get picked up. You could just continue to kayak and get lost in the ocean. Once again, I don't know. These are just things that people are requesting that I look into, and I love maps. I love looking into this stuff. And once again, I measured it out, and to go from where his parents' house is to enter the canal and use the access that the canals, use the entire route. They are completely linked. You could do this. There may be areas where you have to get out and kind of walk it potentially, but it would be roughly 16 miles until you get to this big body of water. I have it at 18 and at 18.3 right here, but I just kind of right around here between 16 and 17 miles, you're in open, large bodies of water, and who knows from there. But like I said, I'm not sure. This is just something I thought that it was interesting. People asked me to do it, and so this is what I'm doing. I actually mapped out the entire Big Slough Canal as well. I followed it all the way north to see where it looked like it ended, and then I measured it all the way out to where where it meets the Myakka River, and it looks like the Big Slough is 20-ish miles, 20 and a quarter miles. So not that that's anything worth talking about. My laundry's done. But real quick, the last thing, we got to do the math here. It says on here it takes about half an hour to kayak a mile. So that is all dependent on, obviously, your skill level, the conditions of water that you're in, how glassy smooth is the water. And also, like, if you're going upstream, I assume that Big Slough Canal runs from the north to the south and spills out into the water. So, I don't know, at a half hour to do the 7 miles, you're talking about quite a few, you're talking about several hours of kayaking to get from their house all the way up to where he ended up in the reserve. So you could do the math specifically and really like talk about each mile being a little bit harder, but I don't think that it was just as easy as a 30-minute mile for 7 miles. I think he probably, if he were to do something like this, or anyone, you'd be going upstream. The conditions wouldn't be great. There'd be certain times you have to probably go slow through here so you're not being seen by people. I would assume it's not just a normal kayaking session. So I don't know. But either way, I wanted to show you guys that and go over it in a video. Also, I realize my mouth doesn't always line up with the audio when I do some of these recordings off stream. So I apologize. I'm working at it. I'm looking into it. I'm still very new to this YouTube stuff. If you're new here as well, consider hitting subscribe, because as more information comes out about the Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie case, I will be covering it. I also posted a video yesterday of a completely unrelated video of my time that I stayed at the Cecil Hotel. So just follow this channel if you want more updates on this case and future cases and true crime or anything maps as well. I'm going to be diving into some interesting map videos that dive into some cool Google Map findings and things like that. And so if any of that is at all interesting or sounds interesting, consider subscribing. I know that this wasn't a full update and we're not talking about breaking information, real like information that is valid and given out by authorities. We're still waiting on that, but I've gotten a lot of requests to go over this, so I did, and there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.